teacher from England, and what I'd like to do today is talk to you about using a metronome or a click. When you go into the recording studio, near enough everything's done to a click. On a lot of gigs these days, you play live to a click. So making sure you feel comfortable with a metronome is really important. So what we're going to do today, we're going to just work on one tempo. We're going to work on 90 beats per minute. So if you set your metronomes to 90. Now, what we're going to use is what I call a shank tip method. You play with the shank of the tip of the stick here, and then you drop the stick to get the tip. Now the shank part is going to be the quarter note. So we are playing at 90 beats per minute. I've got a hi-hat here. If I put 90 on, so with the shank, it's going to be like this. So let's go over to the drums now. I'm going to play that. Well, I'm going to play like the shank on the quarter notes with the metronome, bass drum on 1 and 3, snare drum on 2 and 4. Okay? When you feel comfortable with that, getting the shank to fall down on the metronome pulse, then we're going to add the and, 1 and, 8th notes. So this is going to be where we use the tip. So what you have to practice hitting a hi-hat, shank, and then dropping it, tip, shank, tip, shank, tip. So you need to practice that first. This will really get you to lock in with a metronome. Now if I put it on at 90 again, it's going to sound like this. I'll start with the shank and then I'll do shank tip.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, so let's go back to the drums now. I'll put bass drum on 1 and 3, snare drum on 2 and 4. This method also works for shuffles. Now, as you know, shuffles or triplets are counted 1 tita, 2 tita, 3 tita, 4 tita. So the shank could be on the number and the tip will be on the ta. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 ta. Let's do it with a metronome.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so let's go over to the drums and do that now. Right, coming back to the 8th notes, what we're going to do now, I'm going to go to the drums, play at 90, I'm going to put a couple of bass drum notes in there, make the pattern a bit more original, and then I'm going to add some ghost notes and slurs to make it feel really, really nice. Okay, so when you're using this method and playing to the metronome, you'll find that things start to feel really, really nice. So let's go to the drums and do that now. Do the same thing with the shuffle. So I'll start off by playing the shuffled hi-hat, add some bass drums, put some ghost notes in, and it sounds really, really natural. The 8th notes, what we're going to do now, we're going to play the shank tip on the ride cymbal, and then we're going to get our left foot to really reinforce the quarter notes by coming down with the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's go to the drums now. I'll start off by doing a shank tip on the ride, then I'll bring in the hi-hat part with the quarter notes, with the click, then add the other notes, and let's see what it sounds like. Once you got used to this and it feels natural, you need to apply it to pretty much all the beats you know. But what I've found when I start to use this principle, even without the click, without the metronome, that being aware of the quarter notes when you're playing a beat makes you play more accurately. Now another aspect to this is that drum fills. Now if we go back to the ride cymbal again, I'm going to do 3 bars of beat and then I'm going to do a bar of fill. But when I do the fill, my left foot is going to keep going 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through the fill. So I've got a connection with the metronome all the time. So I'm going to do 3 bars of drum beat and a bar of fill. I'll do it a couple of times so you can get the idea, okay? Recommend is like sit down, obviously play these exercises I'm showing you at lots of different speeds. Start slow, medium and fast, go through all the beats that you can play, have a metronome present, and after a while you'll forget the metronome's there because it just feels so natural. Okay, so try to apply this to everything you know and you'll find playing with a metronome a pleasure. If you enjoyed my lesson today, go on my website www.tonicannelli.com.